Hey friends, I'm back after a little pause over the winter break, and today's episode is called Slow Down, You're Doing Fine. So, if you're listening to this when the episode first comes out, we're at the top of the year, a new year, 2024, but I think most of what I will share today is going to be relevant at any given time. The first thing is, sometimes at the beginning of a month, a year, a week, especially on Mondays, we often find ourselves in this place of wanting to kind of be out with the old and in with the new. And I think that there's always room for improvement, but we should approach this with the current me is good and lovable and deserving, and I'm making small changes that will increase my quality of life and my sense of peace and sense of confidence. Sometimes when there's a new start to a new month or new year, we have this tendency to just be like, let's throw everything out because I want better results. And obviously what I'm doing is wrong. But I think a kinder approach is to say that, I probably have most of the key elements I need, but if I just make some small changes, I can probably get some really great results. The next thing is to not rush the process. I think sometimes the progress doesn't come along fast enough, and I can understand because there are times when we actually need that growth to have a better quality of life and to feel more peace. We need it. And we're just like, hey, I'm not getting results fast enough. And so the tendency is to want to start changing a whole bunch of things up so that we can get those results, not realizing we may already be on the right track, but it requires a bit of patience. The next thing is to not throw out the old lessons. It kind of is connected to my first point. Just because you're not where you want to be or need to be doesn't mean that everything you're doing is wrong and everything you know is wrong. Sometimes small changes can really help us to get where we need to go. And there's no need to throw out everything. Maybe there are things that we need to focus more on. Maybe there are things we need to do with higher frequency or lower frequency. It's really about us taking the time to really analyze and think about it. Another thing that can really help you when you're starting a new year fresh and you want to get good results is to set short-term goals that help you towards the long-term goal. For instance, if you have a goal of saving a certain amount of money, instead of thinking of that number all the time, constantly, and it possibly bringing you a sense of uneasiness or unrest, think of something smaller. So say for the year, you would like to add $10,000 to your savings account. That might feel very aggressive compared to what you've ever done before. Instead of looking at the year as this big 10K goal, it's breaking it down by the month and then breaking it down even further by the week or by the day. How much money would I have to put away every single day to get there? Those bite-sized pieces are much more digestible than to look at the whole year and maybe get overwhelmed. Plus, if you look at the day-to-day, you get some insight on why some days it's harder than others. Connected to this, my next point would be, don't trust the process unless the process has been tried and evaluated. A really good example for me is some skincare goals that I have. Unfortunately, last year, I was under the care of a dermatologist who really wasn't very skilled in my particular issue, and now my skin is about 5 times worse than it was before. And so now I'm in this repair process, and I know that my results are not going to come overnight. A lot of the chemicals were way too harsh for my skin, and it took a while for me to realize I needed to just stop using them and no longer take the advice of that dermatologist. So if I would have trusted the process, I think my skin would be continuing to get worse, continue to have a lack of moisture barrier, and probably even more scarring. At a certain point, I backed off of the chemicals, and then when that didn't improve, I stepped away from them altogether and went back to the basics. Translating this into your own life and goals, sometimes you have to really evaluate, is the change that I made really helping me, or is it causing me to go steps backwards in my process? Really take the time to evaluate and don't throw everything away all at once. back off of the process, change maybe one thing at a time, and you'll finally arrive to a place where you can truly trust your process, especially if you're seeing small changes. And what will help you see those small changes is to document your progress every single day. And as you look back over the data and compare, you can really see if your process is good. So sometimes when I hear people say, trust the process, I feel a little bit skeptical because some of us have not evaluated our process before trusting it. We're taking a process from someone else and looking at their results and hoping it will be the same for us. And that's not always going to be the case. Another one I want to impress upon you, a point, is nothing is wrong with you. Some years ago, I had a good friend who was always wanting to reinvent herself. She'd see a new influencer emerge, go to a conference, see a video, and suddenly she would want to throw away everything that she'd ever built and would say, I just want to start over. I want to revamp. I want to rebrand. And on the first time I first heard that, I didn't think it was the worst thing, but as I would keep observing, it was always something new. And that's why I want to say there's nothing wrong with you. When we see different people doing things differently than us, it is meant to inspire us, or it could also kind of build our assurance that the way we're doing things works best for us compared to how other people are doing things. Never should it get us to a point where we feel like we have to throw out everything we're doing, or because someone else is getting results that we're not getting, that how we're doing it is wrong and how they're doing it is right. I don't think that's the correct approach. I think that there are people out there that we could copy their formula to a T, and it still may not work for us. We're meant to follow our own journey. And I truly believe that when we get to a place of always wanting to just turn everything we're doing upside down and rebrand frequently, it's time to really steady ourselves and continue to build that foundation so that we build on what we have instead of throwing everything away on a whim. My last point is find people you can strategize and partner with so you have a better year. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting this year and feeling like you want it to be different than last year. You want it to be better than last year. You want it to feel different and better than last year. There is nothing wrong with that. But I don't think we're meant to do this alone. There are certain people that will be placed along our paths that we can really trust. We can share our dreams and goals and hopes with them, and they will not judge us or become jealous or intimidated. And in fact, some people along our journey will have similar goals, and we can partner with them, and it can help further us in the destiny that we're meant to have. Now, of course, everyone in your life isn't meant to be your accountability partner or journey partner or even cheerleader. Everyone has their place and purpose. But I really would encourage you this year to evaluate some of the people that are around you or who could potentially come into your life in a more meaningful way and see if they're meant to help you get to your destiny and see if you're meant to help them to get to theirs. And they don't have to be these super serious goals. Maybe this is the year that you decide you want to read 27 novels in 1 year. Maybe there's someone out there who wants to do a mini book club with you, or have little times at home where you sit and drink coffee and read together. Even the goals that are related to hobbies and just simple enjoyment, those are important too. And there are people who can help you get closer to a life that feels good. So I just wanted to remind you with this episode to slow down, not to rush this whole process of getting your life closer to the one that you envision. You're doing fine.